Welcome to Bariatric Business Accelerator, the podcast created for busy weight loss practitioners and their teams who want to systematize, simplify, and accelerate the growth of their new or established weight loss practice. I'm your host, Carol Clark, and if you're new to this podcast, I want to say welcome. If you don't know much about me, you can learn about me at weightlosspracticebuilder.com, and I've been in the trenches, starting from scratch and growing weight loss practices with my husband, as well as practitioners across the U.S., both bariatric surgeons and medical weight loss practitioners. And I love everything related to building and growing weight loss practices. So today I'm putting begging pants on, and I want to ask you to please don't do these things in your weight loss practice. Now, if you are, don't worry, you're not alone. It happens. I see this all the time. But these things are what can prevent you from accelerating the growth of your practice or having an enjoyable practice to begin with. So I'm going to tell you 7 of them, and I'm just going to put my begging pants on and ask you to please not do this in your practice. If you are doing it, there's ways to correct that. So no worries there. The first one is hiring willy-nilly. And a lot of times we just are having trouble in healthcare attracting really great long-term team members. We just get them trained and then they move off somewhere. They're trying to take their salaries and talk to different practitioners and see where they can go. But hiring willy-nilly is something that can be a great struggle. I talked a few podcasts back about the importance of an organizational chart, and it is really helpful that you have your big vision for your practice, that you know exactly who you need, and that you're not just hiring the next person who comes through your door, the next person who reaches out to you on Indeed or wherever it is you're posting your positions. Having that clear organizational chart that's meeting what it is that you want for your practice in terms of your goals is really important versus just hiring a lot of different people without having a clear idea of exactly what they're going to be doing in your practice. That's how we end up with this person have way too many responsibilities. They've been there a while. They just keep taking things on. This person over here doesn't have much. They're kind of bored. They end up showing that in many different non-productive ways. There's lots of different symptoms for this, but hiring willy-nilly generally does not work well. The second thing is copying your competitor. Copying your competitor is never really a great strategy for growing your practice because you want to be different. You want to have your practice established and grow in ways that you want. You and your team are creating something very special there. So copying your competitor typically doesn't really work well. You'll stand out much more if you're not just doing exactly what they're doing. Now, there are such things, as we all know, in healthcare as best practices. So there may be things that they're doing, maybe some content marketing, maybe some other marketing strategies that they're doing that you might take a peek at, but make it your own. So we just don't want to copy our competitors because the world can't stand or doesn't want a homogenous choice out there. You need to stand out in order to be selected by patients to be their healthcare practitioner for weight loss and to utilize your products and services. So that's the second one. Don't copy your competitor. The third one is don't spend a lot of money on things that you really don't need. There are so many slick marketing things out there. I have fallen prey myself to really big flashy marketing campaigns or a big, competition with the local radio station or TV station. By and large, there are many things that people are paying for that they don't really need and are just a waste of money. So we can oftentimes save quite a bit of money, but we want to take a look at what are you spending your money on? Is it working? Is it not? And do you even need it? But there are times when people will spend money, and I've done it myself, on big campaigns is one example, or maybe you feel like you just need this really huge facility, or you need to have gold-plated or platinum-plated everything in your office. There's lots of different ways that we could spend a lot of money that we don't really necessarily need to be wasting. So don't spend a lot of money on things that you don't need. It can also happen with your team, perhaps having too many team members or that sort of thing. Maybe there's things that are being done in the practice that one person could absorb some of the others. So there's lots of different ways there, but don't spend lots of money on things you don't need. The other A fourth thing I beg of you not to do is just to outsource all of your financials without oversight, metric reporting, and your own interpretation or assistance with interpretation. This has to happen monthly. I work with a lot of practices. I've worked with other specialties a little bit too, not so much. Weight loss is my favorite. But this is where you get into situations where there perhaps maybe some embezzling going on, where you have to do a whole forensic review of your financials, where you find that you're spending money on things and you don't even realize it, and your bottom line just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. I'm not saying that you have to do it all yourself. I'm a numbers person. I love doing it for the practice. I love looking at numbers with practices. But this is just one of those things. You can outsource aspects of it. Obviously, you want to use the experts that are on your team, your accountant, and if you have an outside bookkeeper or whoever does it in your practice. But putting those checks and balances and making sure that you are getting a monthly report and that just doesn't go onto a file or into a file in your computer. It's something that you are analyzing and you're asking questions about because it's your practice and you need to know that. Oftentimes, people all of a sudden wake up and they're in this situation where perhaps they don't have enough money to cover payroll, or they're like, we're so busy, why isn't it showing in our checkbook? I'm trying to save for that upgrade or that new facility that I'm building or whatever it is, or you're having to rob Peter to pay Paul. Not monitoring your metrics, your financials every single month is one of the biggest culprits for that. The fifth one is becoming a patient in your practice or completing your care a little bit too difficult. So oftentimes we can put into place these really big marketing plans and all these questionnaires I need to fill out, all these different things, when in the end, sometimes just getting to know you and your team and exactly what you offer and what's the next step is the simplest thing. So good old-fashioned communication is a part of it. Now, I am all for automation. I am all for some great organic content marketing campaigns. I'm on board with some paid ones that are working. But the bottom line is sometimes we can put obstacles in front of our patients. And we all know that for weight loss patients particularly, one small obstacle and it's their barrier that they say, nope, that's not going to work for me either. I've tried everything. This one won't work either because I couldn't get through to someone. No one answered my question. They reached out to me, but then I never heard again. I scheduled a consultation, but they couldn't fit me in for 3 months, or they couldn't. We weren't accommodating. So we want to make sure that we're not putting in front of the patient so many barriers or make it so difficult for them to find you or to take the next step with you. The sixth one is hiding your practice personality. And I get some pushback on this one. I have a number of surgeons and obesity medicine specialists I work with that only want to do things in a really big, high-tech, huge cinematography sort of way if they're doing a video, or they want someone else to be writing their content, or they don't want to really utilize some of their team members. But people buy from people. They want to know you, and you are actually greasing the path to your practice if you actually show a little bit of your personality. And if you're saying, I don't like being on video, video is where it is at, but we can do that. You can do that in lots of different ways, whether it's words and graphics in a video, whether it is you saying something with things going on the video, but we've got to make it so that it shows your personality. I love this. Some of the most successful physicians that I work with are those that really double down on their favorite types of clientele. They message directly to them. They are very specific. They show the fun things going on in their practice. They show their frustrations and some of their struggles a little bit, and they share their patient success stories. They take pictures regularly with their patients. I work with one surgeon. He is amazing. He literally takes pictures with their permission, of course, right before they're ready to go back to surgery. They're all excited. Many of them, they just take spontaneous pictures. It makes it for whoever's doing your social media, whether it's me or not. And everyone has a great team. As long as and I'd like to actually train team members to be able to do your own social media. That's even better. So you're not reliant on someone else, but to give them that fresh content to go along with everything else that you're getting. I know if you're a member of Bariatric Business Accelerator, we have graphics and recipes, and we have articles for you to send out in e-newsletter. We have all that readily available to you along with the trainings, but people use that and it helps fill it in, and then they add in that spontaneous personality. So don't hide your practice personality. And the seventh thing is avoiding to get to know your team and their goals and ambitions. I'm very blessed that I have a team that has been with us for a long time, some of them over 20 years. I think the least person I have is about 10 years that's been with us. I literally, knock on wood, have little or no team turnover. And it's amazing, but it's because we do practice, we have firm rules in place, we have firm guidelines, we have firm boundaries, but they know that I genuinely care about them as a person, and not only me, but the physician, happens to be my husband, but they know that they're a part of our family and that we do care. And they don't take advantage of that. They are just the most genuine, like family people that they are family to us. So, but they want to know that you do care about them, what's going on in their life a bit, and that you also know what their goals and aspirations are. It also helps you from a planning perspective. If you know somebody, we've had plenty of them that came with us, they worked at the practice and then they were going on for maybe their LPN or their RN, or they had another degree. We help support them through that. And then when they left, they still come back and visit. But it meant a lot to them, and they were overachievers and still are out there. And it helps later on. I've often had people come back and say, was asked this question in my interview about what I liked about a boss of mine, and they'll mention that's what really matters. So knowing what matters to them and responding to that is really important. So really quick, this is a little longer podcast. I try to keep them easier for you to just get in bite-sized pieces, but really we talked about what I am putting my begging pants on and asking you not to do is not to hire willy-nilly, not to just copy your competitors, not to spend lots of money on things that you really don't need, not to outsource all your financials without having oversight, metrics, and reporting, and also interpretation of that every single month. The fifth one was making it a little too hard for people to find you or to become a new patient with you or to continue to purchase things from you and gain access to everything you have to offer. The sixth one is hiding your personality. Please don't hide your personality. People buy from people and they love seeing your personality. And the seventh one is don't avoid getting to know your team and their ambitions and their goals. It really does go a long way. So my begging pants were on. I hope you don't, I hope you took this to heart. I hope that if you can resonate with any of them, add it in the comments below. If you have something else to add, you can add that as well. But I see this happening all the time. I don't know how many times I've gone into a practice and they just spent literally tens of thousands of dollars on a marketing campaign or a video that they created, and then how are you to get that return on investment would be, a lot of surgical patients, a lot of medical patients. But anyhow, and I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying that there's often other things that you could do. So I hate to see people waste money. And you can grow exponentially without having to break the bank. So anyhow, I'm done being here with my begging pants. And if you have any specific questions for me, or if you're ready to become a member of Bariatric Business Accelerator, where we deep dive into a lot of these topics, trainings for your team every week. I work with team members all across the U.S. and different surgeons and physicians. I love it. I see all sorts of things, and I would love to get to know you better. It is such a really low cost, and it's a definite return on investment that you get. So visit bariatricbusinessaccelerator.com, or just reach out to me if you have a question or want to just have a chat about what's going on in your practice. Carol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. And I look forward to talking with you. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the podcast too. Thanks so much, and have a great week.